Now after Drake just released 2 new songs, in the form of features on Camila Cabello's new album, CX0X0, I think it's safe to say that the cycle is now complete. And after an array of weird songs that display to us that Drake is having an identity crisis, finally found some sort of footing to stand on musically at the moment. But this is no longer by being one of the most overly confident rappers that we have ever seen, like before the Kendrick beef, but it's now by just being a full-on pop star. And after Kendrick Lamar clearly laid out that he likes Drake with the melodies, and not when he acts tough on Euphoria, if the embarrassing moments of Wagwan, Delilah and You My Everything were not damaging enough in terms of cementing Drake's defeat, and just showing the world how quickly the wrath of Kendrick Lamar can make somebody go from being as cocky to as lost as ever, this moment will cement everything. Because between the way that Drake has come back outside in preparation for these new tracks, to ultimately how they will end up being his biggest moments in this post-beef era of his career, and solidify his reputation in this current moment. All in all, in a time where Kendrick Lamar is having another victory lap off the momentum of his pop-out concert and not like a video shoot, this moment for Drake, while despite making more noise for him than anything else has, it's not necessarily helping his case. Now before we can get into these new tracks from Drake and what they are doing on impact, we need to quickly look at how Drake has responded to Kendrick Lamar's pop-out concert, which did immortalize that Kendrick is the clear winner of this beef, as the entire rap game celebrated him like few other rappers ever have been, while they can still smell their flowers. And when it comes to how Drake has responded, it's clear that this massive moment struck a nerve with him, because from the cryptic story posts that have been trying to create some sort of buzz around his name, despite the barrage of rappers we just found out absolutely despise him, it's clear that with weird story post after weird story post, Drake has been trying to get any sort of point on the board that he can through any means possible right now. And even further than just some of the cringy selfies and random pictures that are hinting at something. What really turned a lot of eyes was when Drake voted on a poll this week about which diss tracks were the best during the feud between him and Kendrick. And according to the user's poll, who was called the Good Rap page, which shout out to him, Drake voted for Not Like Us. But beyond Drake actually admitting defeat on an Instagram poll, at the end of the day what matters most, and what will be judged the most importantly, is what goes on behind the microphone. So with these 2 new songs, after a period where Kendrick Lamar just united feels like the entire genre behind him, and everything he has stood for this year in hip-hop, how does Drake respond? Does he show that, despite what feels like a genre and reputation that is collapsing more and more with every single moment, he is still not gonna go down without a fight? Or does he only manage to let everything continue to crumble on even more, and in typical Drake fashion in this era? You probably guessed it, he is only further destroying his credibility within the hip-hop space, because this song is just proving that everything Kendrick Lamar did against him worked. And he really got Drake to step out of the hip-hop space as a whole, for the time being. And now, if Drake maybe came with a melodically driven hit song that was as infectious as something like One Dance, maybe the conversation could start to shift, and Drake could really set the precedent that, despite getting a loss handed to him, he can still release undeniable hits that you cannot deny their greatness. Both of these tracks fall short of any of these expectations, and in all honesty these songs aren't just a miss, but they sound like cuts that are serving as a direct extension from Drake's most polarizing and panned album, which was of course, honestly, Nevermind. So with the major song in this bunch, which is titled Hot Uptown, this is the cut that was designed to be the massive hit, with Drake and Camila Cabello going back and forth over an up-tempo dance and beat. Well, in a vacuum, this is a decent track that you can throw on, and it will definitely give you some good vibes. This song offers absolutely nothing at all that you'd call genuinely special, and just gets by from doing the absolute bare minimum and playing to the most simple of conventions when it comes to what makes a palatable song to throw on the radio, a speaker, or in a clothing store. And if this is the bar, then great, Drake succeeded. But if this song is trying to be a statement, and even an answer back to Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us, which has become the song of the summer at this point, and if this track is trying to remind us not just to greater audiences, but to the entire hip-hop community especially, that Drake really is this undeniable force that should be in the conversation with somebody like Kendrick at all, unless we determine greatness by whose music would play the best. At Target, this song fails on all fronts, and with the other cut, Ugly, this is nothing but an interlude from Drake, which just features his whining singing, which has him talking about the same old higher topics, about how he loves a girl, she doesn't love him back, and that it is making this almost 40-year-old man sad. that he can find something within these superficial relationships. And again, with this being the best that you have to offer at this moment in time, especially after you were just called out for being so immature. Despite your age, it really just proves that Kendrick never has to do anything in this beef again if he does not want to, and that he needs to be dismissed from the conversation about what is going on with Drake as a whole right now, because Drake is bringing all of these problems onto himself as he is trying to get away with the absolute bare minimum and is moving in directions that are only further validating the biggest disses that Kendrick threw his way. When we look at it from this angle, in all honesty, it's a perfect fit that Drake decided to drop off not one, but two features on this very album. Because just like Camila Cabello, Drake is an artist who is trying to desperately search for an identity at the moment, and both are just failing to capture any of the magic that their older music had to their respective audience as they step further and further away from what made them special in the first place. And now, while this is only further dampening Drake's abysmal musical batting average this year, with a few songs that just sound like a step up from the just laughable majority of cuts on honestly. Never mind, the timing of a song coming out like this right now is horrible, and the objects of it all is just terrible. Because after Kendrick Lamar showed off that he is the sheer embodiment of hip-hop as he brought unification into the genre like few other rappers ever had, Drake is running away from rap as a whole and is now just hopping on generic trends with pop artists. I mean, when we look at all of this in conjunction with each passing week, moments like these are only making Kendrick's words age better and better, and are really turning a song like Euphoria into this immortal piece music that, beyond being one of the best rapping displays the genre has seen in a very long time, served as this breakdown of Drake that's only seeming to foreshadow more and more of his failures in ways that we have never seen before. Now, what I honestly think is most interesting about this entire song is what it represents for the direction Drake is gonna be going in for the rest of this summer, because with the way he has been moving online to the way it's so clear that he's still trying to fight back in his own sad ways. I think it's inevitable that he will only release more new music, but I think these songs are proof that at least Drake is gonna be staying away from rap for some time. And with everything he has been leaning into, I'm gonna make a prediction that we are gonna end up getting another project like Drake's Honestly, Nevermind, and maybe even a full-fledged sequel, which his entire purpose will be to shift the entire narrative around him in this moment and give people those summer vibes that may help them forget about how scathing Not Like Us is. But if this project is anything like these songs, I don't think this, or really any project from Drake, will do anything right now to help him. And while if he was smart, he would have just went into hiding. It's clear that the spiraling individual who cannot stay out of the limelight because his whole worth seems to be based off optics and the impressions of others will only continue to risk hurting his reputation more instead of taking time to do the one thing that may just help him out in the long run, sitting down and reflecting. So let me know, what do you think of these new records in the never-ending downfall of Drake? And how do you think they compared everything he's been up to? And do you think they help him any bit? I can't wait to hear what you have to say. And if you want to see how Kendrick Lamar just saved West Coast hip-hop, check out the suggested video.